Even in a society like ours, racism is still a big problem. This not only occurs in person, but also in the media. Racism is a problem that happens in news, social media, and even television. People of color are rarely represented in television and media, and when we are represented, it's usually a negative or inaccurate depiction. Sandra Bland, 28, was found dead in a jail cell on July 15, 2015. Her death was ruled suicide by the country coroner. This provoked many people and led to protests. People were suspicious of her so-called suicide. This was because the county had a history of racism. Even so, some media outlets went against Bland. One source had said, "Woman found dead in jail cell had prior run-ins with the law." However, these run-ins were simply unpaid traffic tickets. Television and news outlets tend to over-exaggerate certain events and facts to make it seem like people of color are worse than they seem and that white people are perfect. This picture portrays James Holmes, a white mass murderer who killed 12 people and injured 70 others, as a brilliant science student. But this picture, compared to this picture of Michael Brown, an African-American man who was killed by a police officer, further shows how the media portrays people of color versus white people. The picture of Michael Brown displays him as a criminal or lawbreaker, which is most likely what they were intending. People on various social media outlets have been posting images of themselves under the tag #IfTheyGunnMeDown. This tag shows two contrasting images, one that makes them seem like a delinquent or a criminal, and one of them as a scholarly or successful person. This asks the question, which picture would the media choose if we were gunned down? But news story and social media tags are not the only way we are represented in media. Lincoln Theodore Monroe Andrew Perry, better known as Stepin Fetchit, was America's first black movie star. Even so, his character, Stepin Fetchit, was known as an addled, lazy, mumbling clod. But since then, the amount of people of color in movies and television has increased. An example of this is The Wiz, made in 1978. It is an adaptation of the original Wizard of Oz, but with an all-black cast. Movies like this have led the way to more racially diverse films and television shows. For example, a recent television series, Fresh Off the Boat, is a show about a family of Asian immigrants and represents them in a humorous way without using racist humor or stereotypes. But even with these various shows and movies that have multiple examples of representation of people of color, people are still choosing to whitewash certain roles in movies and television shows. One thing that some movies tend to do, like it is shown in the picture, is use white actors to portray actors of color. With Mr. Yunioshi, a character from the movie Breakfast at Tiffany's, the actor Mickey Rooney took on his role by using makeup and acting with over-exaggerated movements and accents. This is called yellowface. The same thing is happening in this picture. Laurence Olivier, the actor of Othello from the movie Othello, is shown with a dark tint applied to his skin to make him look like a different race. This is called blackface. Another thing that some movies do is whitewashing. This is when they choose white actors to portray characters of color, but the actors do not use over-exaggerated movements or makeup. In the live-action movie remake of the popular cartoon Avatar: The Last Airbender, the main protagonists are portrayed by white actors. However, the cartoon and characters were heavily based off East Asian culture. Also, the main antagonists and some of the side characters were kept as the intended race, unlike the heroes. Even if people of color did get roles in movies, those roles would mostly be for stereotypical reasons. For example, in many cop shows and crime dramas, African Americans tend to be overused as the lawbreakers. In many movies and television shows, African and Latino Americans are often associated with traits of criminality and laziness, and are displayed as brash and dumb. Asian Americans are also commonly placed in stereotypical roles such as the math whiz, non-English speaking immigrant, and the wise karate master. These stereotypes affect what roles people of color get in various movies and television shows. The lack of non-stereotypical people of color in media can also affect children of color. Many children's role models in movies and television tend to typically be white and male. For example, the Avengers. Many children look up to this group of superheroes, yet many of the members of this group, as well as various other heroes, are still male and white. White males are often depicted as strong, rational, and important. Any other race is usually depicted as less important, which may lead children to think of themselves as less successful and not as heroes or main characters. However, one popular television show, The Legend of Korra, is changing how children feel themselves. The main character of the show is depicted as a strong and independent woman of color, and is not just there as a love interest. The roles of people of color in media are constantly changing. Various media have started to use much more positive representation of people of color in news, television, and movies, although there is still some negativity. Society and the media may keep pushing their white ideals on us, but we will keep pushing back.